Hello, Minecrafters. It's been a while. In fact, it's been 2 servers ago that I last came at you. And this is different. This is not a Let's Play. This is an I Played Already. This is an I Played Already. This is the end of this server. We're about to start it over. And I thought I'd give you a tour of what I've got. I mean, it's fun to watch people play. See what they do, see their problems, see how they overcome them. But sometimes it's just fun to see what they did. And when somebody's doing a Let's Play, they don't usually go back and describe everything because anybody who's been watching the Let's Play has seen everything already. So this is going to be an I Played Already, and I'm going to show you everything I've got here. Now, one thing to note, I never got around to building the pretty base. You know, I always have 2 bases. One that's a hole in the wall that I sort of organically live in until I'm ready to move. And then I build a nice base and I move into it. Never got around to doing that in this server. I just sort of lived here in my little hole in the wall. So it's packed and it's messy, but it's full of interesting stuff. Now, when I say I never decorate it, I did do a little bit of decoration out here, which let me go up and get a better view. I decided I'd make one of every armor in the game, and because of Metallurgy 3, I think it's Metallurgy 3, there are a lot of armors. So I've got one of just about everything I could make, not doing Thaumcraft or a few other things. So this is most of the armors. There's a lot of them. I'm wearing a copy of this one. This is the Tartarite, which is probably one of the best. I've also got Protection 4 on 2 pieces of it. I've got around to make it on the other 2. And as you can see, I've also got advanced genetics, so I can fly, and I've got permanent jump boost and resistance and other things. But yeah, spawn is just over this way, and I just in the next biome. I ran over here and said, hey, this is a nice big cliff wall, I'll dig into it and that'll be my home. And I never moved. I did decorate it a little tiny bit on the outside just to mark it as not a actual hole in the wall, but it's an actual home. I was playing with the projector here for a little while. This is my tree farm. I used to have a whole bunch of trees here that I would manually come out and dig, but I set up this rotary craft system that whenever that tree just happens to grow, it'll chop it down and this will plant a new one. I can put bone meal in there, but somehow it's got more saplings in it. That's interesting. Put them over here. And put bone meal in there, and it doesn't really seem to help any. So I would put a whole stack of bone meal in there, and it may or may not grow. Not sure why. I just let it run. It gives me enough wood for my needs. Did blood magic. Took blood magic pretty much to the end, and this is where I did my binding. Put the water down because that causes fires, and you don't want to lose any of the items it creates in the fire. So water keeps the fire away. Over here, we'll see this from inside. This is part of the active base. This is the mob grinder for blood magic, which is currently running away down there. Oh, there's a bunch of blazes in it. We'll see that in action. I also, on the outside of the base, I made I did the activating the sigil. So down in here I've got whatever that's called, cursed earth. Fences are there just to keep anything from growing on it or from spawning on it. And I don't think you need to keep it in the dark anymore. It's resistant to light. It just doesn't work in the light. The nice thing about this, you can come up from underneath without falling and just dig it out. And as long as you don't dig it all out, it'll respread. So if you need some, you can get some. I never actually used it for anything. I mostly just used it for the activation. I briefly tried Archimedes' ship. I had a balloon here on this pad. It corrupted the server. I had to come in and delete it in... no, I had to... I guess it was in my inventory. It was part of my user's contents when you're writing it. So I had to go and delete my user content file. So all my inventory disappeared and I had to replace it. But it got me out of the balloon. And the balloon's gone, and I'm never going to build it again on this server. Maybe in a later version it's more stable, but it was not stable here. This is not actually lava. This is, as you can see on the label up above on the top there, it's fluid display from Random Things. This is the spot, this travel anchor here is where people appear in my base when they use the linking book from our hub. And so I just put all this fake lava down around them to freak them out. And supposedly it worked. Yeah, this was the hole that I dug in the wall, and I can see my first chest and crafting table are still here. The crafting table still has wood in it, and one of the original chests, which now just has some magical crops stones in it. And there's a little square room here, which was the extent of my base to begin with a stairway going down to the mines. And grew from there. Used to have lots of chests here, and this got replaced, of course, by the ME system, which has got a lot of drives that are almost all full. I think these three are the only that are completely empty. Some of these others have 5, 35, 32, 50 types. A lot of different things in there. Not too many are red or orange. But when you consider I've got almost 500,000 arcane stones, 375,000 netherrack, 350,000 stone. Whew, a lot of essence dust. 330,000 essence dust. 149,000 bones. 97,000 marble. I've got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of some things. To keep that from jamming up this side of on the back side here, I've got 3 more drives. These are using the cells from extra cells. The blocking container, which you can set up to just do one thing, and then it can hold a lot of it. Like the arcane stones, I've got almost 500,000, and it's almost full. So I could probably hold each of these 500,000. So all the things I had the most of, I made one of these cells for. Because my system had it in the other side, and I had one of these empty drives, I went and put one of those drives in this guy. This is a separate little ME system. It's not actually touching this one. This bus is on the main system. But they sort of each connect to this interface and each connect to this chest. And what it does is once I've put an empty drive here and here formatted for like marble, I then go into the ME interface and put a bunch of stacks of marble in here. It exports it to here, which gets sucked out and put into that drive. So it basically drains all the marble out of my system and into the one drive there, and then I stick it back in here. So that's how I loaded up all these with individual blocks. Now, I don't have a lot of processing machines. This is pretty much it for all my processing. I never got around to making a big processing system. This was enough. This one chest here from Better Chests does all my smelting. It's got the smelting upgrade. Put something in there like stone, it'll smelt it down to, what is that? Makes it some tablet? Yeah, the circuit plate. It'll export, but it won't export everything. Just what I tell it to. And usually I would have it exporting stones, so when it's smelting cobblestone, it doesn't accidentally make those plates. Yeah, it is in there. Interesting that it didn't pull it out. Maybe because it was in there so quickly. But yeah, I've got 4 pulverizers that do all the grinding of ores. This one was doing... says it's on, but there's nothing in there. Oh, there it goes. Update issue. Yeah, I made a whole lot of gold ore from gold essence. I hadn't been on in several days, and I had a lot of gold essence, so I made some gold ore, and it's processing it now. So each one of these has, 8 different things it's designed to process, which means it's not that fast if I'm got a lot of things coming into the system, like I just went mining. And when I mine fast. This really loads up quick. But it'll get to it eventually. And that's the nice thing with a chunk loader on a server. You can just log off, and most of the time I'm not online, so most of the time it can do all the work without me. Just a fluid transposer to fill buckets. Sag mill for the few things nether quartz that it does better. Got one of these painting machines just to play around with it. On the back here, whenever I need the liquid redstone, I got these two to melt it down and load it up into things. Potions, I was playing with Steve's factory manager to make two different types of potions. Top row and the bottom row. There's some overlap between them. Like the awkward potions are used by both. But yeah, it makes what's a potion of healing 2 and potion of regeneration 2, which are used for the magnum torch. And because these are both on storage buses, these 3 potions that are in the system actually show up in my inventory, so I can pull them out and use them for crafting. And if they get pulled out, the rest of them flutter through and it makes more. Yeah, this was just a temporary little thing to suck in fluids into my system. Actually, no, it was for... what was it? Yeah, it was buckets of liquid essence. Yeah, so if I went out with a stack of empty buckets and I found a pool of liquid essence, I would start sucking it up in buckets, then dump them all into my wireless access terminal here. They get sent here and get dumped into this, which gets sucked as liquid into my AE system. With the extra cells, you can have the liquids, and so I've got, 856 buckets of liquid essence now. Never did get around to doing too much with Ars Magica, but I was getting ready to. Various miscellaneous things. This is fed life essence for my blood magic system. That's just a tier 1. Tier 1 altar with the tier 1 orb. It's just a backup. I have my, Archmage's orb in a tier 5 downstairs being loaded up. But if I take that out to do anything in that altar, and I forget to put it back in, I've got a lot of things using life essence. I don't want to run out, because that starts hurting me. So this is like a little backup, just to keep some in the system. I've got a lot of it in there, too. Let's see. Slight delay here. Server is not talking to me. There it is. Okay. So I've got 99,000 buckets of life essence on the wall. 99,000 of life essence. Helps if I say it. Yeah, I got a lot. It got sort of dark in here. So, yeah, I'm set for a while. This thing could be kept full for a very long time. Oh, yeah, up here on the ceiling, I've got 2 of these quantum field rings. One connects to the nether and one connects to the mining hub age. It's a mining age and a hub age from Mistcraft, so that I have access to all my stuff remotely from there as well. This is nice. This little thing here is the player interface from Random Things. The sides are the bottom is your hotbar down this row. The sides are your main inventory, these 3 rows, and the top is your armor slots. So what I've got here is a import bus on the main part, but it's set up to only be active with the redstone signal. Which means if this switch gets flipped, it's now sucking out anything that's in my main inventory there and sending it into the system, but not my hotbar. And it's also attached to a wireless remote. So if I go into my tool bag here, I've got a wireless remote that I can trigger that thing on or off. And I also have these 2 spell crystals from Blood Magic. That combination, and here are the spells themselves up on the ceiling and wall. Combination is powerful mining, let me tell you. This little one is just a projectile, water, environmental with the amplification. All it does, or excuse me, ice, not water. Ice and environmental. It freezes water. So if there's water when I'm mining, I can freeze it, and then I can suck it up with a mining spell. If there's lava, I can put a bucket of water over it, turn it into cobble and obsidian, mine that away. When that's all gone, freeze the water, and then take the water away. So I can clear out pretty much anything. And this is the dig spell. Projectile, earth, environmental, full set of boosters. Wind, environmental, full set of boosters. And then wind again with the defensive. This makes it silk touch. This mines. And this picks up all the drops. Powerful, powerful spell. Sucks up so much stuff. That's why I have to drain my inventory at rapid speed to keep up with it. So it works very well. Now all this takes, electrical power, which I've got going through these Ender IO cables here. A little bit of storage. I was experimenting with that one, and I got 2 cells. All the power comes down this line and goes into the tops of these and into the side of that, and then it comes out the bottoms and goes into the system. I need a little bit more power than that, so there's actually an overflow that comes over the top here, and so when these are full, I can still take the power straight from the system. And how do I generate the power? Well, I've got a lot of these, and more over there. 3 groups of 8. And what this is, I spent a lot of time in single player experimenting with this. This is a volcanic furnace that takes stuff, in this case cobblestone, and melts it into lava. And you can see it's not going as fast as it could because I'm not using that much lava here. But it outputs the lava and it goes to these 2 magmatic dynamos. And I worked at it, and one of these, kept fully fed, can make enough lava for 2 magmatic dynamos with a little bit left over. 3 magmatic dynamos is too much for it. It runs dry. So I'm using the 2. And when I need a little bit of extra lava, I can pull it out by sticking buckets in here. And they'll recover because they have that little extra. They're getting fed from a transfer node here, which has a bunch of upgrades, 12 mining and 36. This isn't necessarily balanced. I didn't really experiment. I just dumped all the extras I had in there. And that more than enough keeps more than enough cobblestone in the system. And so I got 3 groups of 8. Each one of these 8 has its own cobblestone source. I found that was enough to keep them all filled. There it goes. 12 and 36 again. So that produces all my power. Yep, I've got my own private end portal here. The Endermen, some of the Endermen in the end, when killed, will drop these. And so I just kept killing enough till I had enough to make my own. I can't move it, unfortunately. Once it's made, it's stuck there. Maybe that's why I didn't ever move my base. I'd have to do all that killing again. But, yeah, it's handy if you need to get there. Not that I couldn't have made a book, but hey, it's fun. Got my ME assembler. This chest handles making all the magical crops essence, which I'll show you downstairs. These are all the things the magical crop essence can create. They all get, and this thing is constantly trying to make those, craft them. And so as soon as the essence appears in the system, it gets crafted and stuck in this chest, which gets imported into the system. So nothing stays in there for very long. But that's where it turns all that. It's a very compact way to make all those essences into their stuff. See, I've got a remote inventory over here. This is sort of handy. If I have, it's only the ME wireless access node that has power. You see, it's only 143 out of 200. If I go into my bag of tricks here, somewhere in here, yep, here it is, the wireless transceiver. This is linked to this guy here. This guy sort of acts as an inventory, but it can charge my items. So this should, it is not. So it's probably been unlinked at some point. I'll relink it. Yeah, it wasn't the right color. So now this should be charging up. I thought. I haven't used it in a while. Thermal expansion power. Range upgrade. Item upgrade. I don't know why the ender pearls are there. They're supposed to be there. But it doesn't seem to be charging. Oh well, doesn't really work. It used to. That's okay. It's one of the Tesseracts sending power out to places, including right up there. I should have. I've got cables over here now. I can run power up to it, but I hadn't yet. So that's that. Various other things I've got here. Miscellaneous stuff. Some of my trophies. I got a that. If you haven't seen that, that thing is expensive. well, if you make it safely. Since it takes 9 unstable ingots to make, and you only have 10 seconds after you make an unstable ingot to use it, and making 9 of them and using them in 10 seconds, very, very hard. I went the cheaper way of making the unstable nuggets to make a stable unstable ingot. It takes 9 diamonds instead of 1 to make each ingot, and there's 9 of them here, so that's a lot of diamonds. But I can afford it. I got how many diamonds I got in here? Whoa! 9,563. That's more than I had before. Also killed the dragon. Yeah, I was bored. And you can make these. That's part of the applied advanced genetics mod. Lets you make them. That's part of a system to heal you. If you have some in your inventory, once you get the Ender Dragon DNA, they'll take damage instead of you. Yeah, you probably saw that I had a whole bunch of Mistcraft books here. I made a lot of ages before I finally got some of the Mistcraft crystal, the blue crystal I needed for something downstairs. So, yeah, I made a lot of ages. Didn't explore them too much. Just looked around. If I didn't see crystal, I left. So I didn't really use up a lot of resources on the server. But there's like, how many are there? This was the last one. 29? Was it the last one? Is there only 29? Yeah, that's not too bad. So, let's move on. Some of the heads I've taken. Some of the alchemic chemistry sets for blood magic. Instead of using the teleporters, let's actually take the stairs so you can see where everything is in relation to each other. Now down here I've got all the advanced genetics machines. And I always make these adjustable bags from better chests and upgrade them to full size. And then when you can go out and you scrape a creature, you can get a lot of... why do I want this open? More lag. You can get a lot of skin scrapings. There we go. And bring them home. These are Ender Dragon. And these are just the ones I didn't use. These are the extras. So that's good. You know, whenever I go out, I make another bag and leave the extras here, so it's nicely sorted. All my basic genes go in here, and then all the genes that have something to them are in here. But there's some sort of bug. A lot of these say none now. They didn't used to say none. Don't put none into any of the machines. It will corrupt the system. I found that out on a different version, so this one is probably the same. But I do have other things like the teleporter, speed, infinity woolly, save inventory. They're all in here. I've got my smeltery. Didn't really use it too much. I'm powering it off of another one of these volcanic furnaces that I just dump some stone in here when I want to use it. That's usually enough. I never set it up to be automatic. Didn't need to. I used it to make some clear glass. Dump sand in here, which pumps it there. That's my controller block. And then this automatically pulls it out and makes glass blocks, which get sucked into this chest from some connections on the bottom. So that's pretty simple. Rotary craft, blast furnace. On the back behind here, I had some other machines. These are some of the earlier machines. 2 pulverizers. What are these used for? Well, I was actually using them. These are all the manual ones. Alloy smelter for when I needed that. What else we got here? Magma crucible for making obsidian back in the early days when I needed to. This was another... This is for the Resident Ender. This one I still use every now and then. An induction smelter for when I needed to do that. Let's dump all this back into the system. Not much of interest there. For food, my main source of food are these deluxe cheeseburgers. Hearty Feast. Very good food. I think it's one of the better things in Pam's Harvest Craft. And it's possible to make that with just tomatoes, lettuce, and tofu. I think that's it. Oh, and then bread. So you need some wheat. So those 4 things, and you can make this. And I've got a little Steve's factory manager here to do the conversion. I stick the tofu, the soybeans in here, and it'll make the various types of tofu I need in the right quantities. Now, back here, this is another Steve's factory setup. Behind here are a whole bunch of transfer nodes. There's lava on the other side of underneath this wall, with water on that side. So these are all generating cobblestone. They all have 32 mining upgrades and 2 speed upgrades. You can see that they're doing half a stack every half second. So that's a stack a second for each one going into these chests. You can see all the cobble coming in, going out. Which then these inventory cables all connect up to the Steve's factory manager. And what it's doing is crafting. Each of these ones that has a number is crafting, in this case, cobblestone to compressed cobblestone. And this one, compressed cobblestone to double compressed cobblestone. All the way up to 8. I also needed to make the singularities. So this little piece over here, which is currently disabled, was feeding cobblestone into this to make singularities. Once I had far more than I'd ever need, I stopped it. I think it stopped. Oh, no, it's still going. Oh, but it's going on a very slow rate. I can kick it up faster. I've left it running very, very slowly. You can see how slow that is. And it's already gotten 16 more, so I guess I can turn it off, but it doesn't hurt. It's barely taking any of the cobble. Almost all of it is going into this chest eventually. I've got a stack and 10 of the octuple compressed cobblestone. Each one of these, as you can read on the screen, is 43,046,721 cobblestone. And I've got 74 of them. This thing has worked great. It's been running for a long time. I mainly wanted to get up to septuple cobblestone because the wither can't break out of it. 7 and 8 level compressed, the wither can't break them. And so I set up, I guess I can head out there when we go to the hub age. I set up a little box for the wither to live in, just barely big enough for him, with a hole for me to build him inside. I place the last piece, I lock it up with another piece of compressed cobblestone, back off. He'll eventually activate, and when he does, he will start shooting. And he'll, since it's going to hit the blast impervious wall in front of him, it's only going to do damage to him. He kills himself. It's wonderful. And I just go and collect the rewards. My enchanting table, I was playing around a little bit with the carpenter's blocks. I've gotten better at it since then. This is sort of ugly. But making enchanting books here, that's strange. Yeah. Automating some of the Blood Magic's potion activities in here. I have a drop shaft to the bottom of the world where I've got some stuff. We'll go down there in a little bit. And across the hall here, I have my garden. This is where all the magical crops are running. So I still haven't filled it all in. I got more than enough of everything. Using the rotary craft fans, these are spinning, though they don't seem to. For some reason recently they stopped and haven't started again, though it all still is running. You can see that it's harvesting and blowing the crops away. You see those red curlies. Each of these groups of 9, these 3x3s of darker dirt here and here, that's fertilized earth. Underneath these 4, there's one in each corner, is a blood magic ritual that's accelerating the growth of those sections. And I put my favorite stuff in those corners. And I also have a sprinkler up top. I don't know if it really does anything for magical crops. I can go up here to where it's running. It's just a simple tesseract power converted a rotary craft into a pump and sending pressured water down to the system there. For sugarcane, I've got these detectors. Whenever it grows, the detector notices it, sends a redstone signal, which makes the pistons crush it, which pops off and gets sucked up by this advanced item collector into the chest, which then gets funneled into my system. Now, not all of the magical crops work with fans. Some of them don't. So those over here, I made this, which is a Steve's Factory, simple one, that will, I'll go over here, harvest these whenever they grow. And I originally had it so it would replant them, but it seems to replant them automatically, so that saves me the work. I had it in the line, but I made it in a circle here so I can put my watering can right in the middle and speed it up. I guess I could put a blood magic ritual under these too. I never thought of that. Could do that. Have to move this sucker here. This is what sucks up any extra drops back into the system. But yeah, I could do a blood magic ritual there too. These I don't really need. I just set them up there. This is my first blood magic tier 5 altar. It may not look like a tier 5. Most of it's underground. We can drop down there. You can see there it all is the pieces of it. Most of it is the displacement blocks to speed up input and output through the ME system of the life essence, with the rest being runes of sacrifice to get more out of the kills. I've got it balanced so that this just stays full. If I were to take one more of the displacements and convert it into a rune of sacrifice, this would drain. But that's what we saw up above outside, was the Well of Suffering ritual, which is what's killing all these guys and draining their blood into the altar. Any drops they get go into here, which gets sucked up into the system. Like I said, 99,000 buckets of life essence. Now, these are coming from a mob spawner. You can see them sort of flying up here. That's the just a visual glitch of the teleportation. Once they're all killed, once all of the ones that have been spawned down there come up here, because it only spawns a batch. Once the last of them are up here, and you can see them on the mini-map, you know, transitioning from down and to the right of us to where I am here. Once they're all killed, this entity detector, set up to detect mobs, will fire off a pulse, which gets delayed a little bit, and that sends downstairs to the spawner, which triggers the spawner to make another batch of blazes for me. Now all this mob essence is getting piped out into the AE system, and then some of it is getting pumped into this one over here, which is another tier 5, which we go down here. And this is entirely displacement. I used to have some efficiency runes as well, so that any processing I did here would go quickly. But for some of the really high-end tiers, I really needed it to fill quickly, so I just replaced them all with displacement. If I needed to do other things, I can wait. You know, I can set it up and then go do other things and then come back. Right now it's charging up my personal pool, and you can see it's pulsing. It's draining into the orb. The orb is being used to kill those guys and grow crops. So this orb needs to stay in here to keep that system charged. If I take it out, you know, it stops pulsing. But I can now go into this chest and, you know, put a piece of stone in there, and it'll start getting processed. And then I just got to remember to stick this Archmage's Blood Orb back in there. So as soon as this gets pulled out, the orb will come back in and continue charging. And I think this thing is set up to... yeah, stone is not coming out, and blank slates are not coming out. So when it upgrades to the next level, it will get pulled out. And this one also goes into my AE system. So as soon as that upgrades one more time, then the orb will follow it through, and there it goes, gets sucked out, orb comes through, and there's the orb. Okay. So yeah, these two tier 5s do all the work. And of course, tier 5s do need beacons in the corner, so that I needed the nether stars, which is why I set up that compressed cobblestone generator early on, so that I'd be ready for it. So that is this level. Now let's go down one more here. I started with the Ars Magica. Of course, I started at, you know, max level. You know, it's the sunstone block. And quartz. I've got one of the daylight ones and one that uses the essence, which I can put buckets of it down there and it'll feed into it. But I never really got going into it. I've done some of it before, but I don't find too much of it useful. There's probably some useful things in there, but I haven't gotten around to it. Here's my door to the nether. We'll come back to that. First, let's come down here. See, here's where I needed the crystal from Mistcraft. That linking book links to the kill chamber in the blood above the blood magic rune, the blood magic altar, and this is where the blazes spawn. So let's go over here. I've got a tesseract with power coming in. It's currently off because that's what it's gray. It's not giving any power. To a converter to rotary craft, to CVTs to convert it to the maximum speed. There. That's what maximum speed looks like when you're pumping it into a rotary craft controlled spawner. This is one I pulled out of the nether with a dolly. And you can see just how fast the blazes spawn here. Now, as soon as the first blaze went through the gate, this got turned off. You see, that's off. But there's a buffer in the generator here, which is now empty. Okay, so it stopped spawning, but it has to wait till that buffer drains. So we get quite a lot of blazes for that short pulse of power before the first blaze goes through. And now the rest will keep funneling through the gateway here, burning their way up, and then they get chewed up by the system. Yep, there's the last one. So now as soon as those last ones die, it'll pulse, and that's not a pulse, that's just me being close to the spawner, and it's normal activation. This thing doesn't suppress normal behavior, so it's sort of dangerous to work on it if you're not armored. I'm well armored. This stuff is... I don't really take damage. Plus I've got 2.5 rows of hearts down there. Red, orange, and half a yellow. So, let's go to the nether. I haven't, like I said, I hadn't been on in a couple days. So, I actually went through here before I started recording. This hallway was filled with these guys. The entire hallway filled with them. I had to chop them all down. And they all were carrying these envy shards for some reason. Alright, let's go in here. Here we have a similar setup, the exact same setup, except instead of the tesseract being there, it's down under here. Because it's also powering this. This lets me get at my entire AE system from the nether. So while I was working in here, I still had access to everything. And you can see it's generating. This is a wither skeleton spawner. Actually, this is a skeleton spawner. I mean, I've never found a wither skeleton spawner. This is a regular skeleton spawner from the overworld that I brought down here, which makes it become a wither skeleton spawner. So that was a nice little trick. Now here, instead of their being sent off to be turned into blood, I've got the, what is this called? The heat. I didn't have the name. Labels don't work. Some sort of heat ray thing here that kills them. And it's just running on stored power, I guess. No, I guess it stays always powered. Yeah, I split it so that only this one is turned off. But I can turn it on with the switch spawn switch. Do not leave on. Yeah, because once it's on, it goes like mad, just like the one upstairs. And again, it's got a bit of a buffer. So though I just turned it off, it's going to run until this drains. And it drains fast. It's really putting out everything it's got. And all these drops are being sucked up into the system, which this is... You see a little flickering of things. That all goes into the AE system and sent back upstairs. And it makes a lot of XP. Now, I came in here before just to make sure everything was working. Oh, look at this. I can barely see. I had no experience on me when I came in. And I think I got up to like 20 standing here before. So now I'm up to 40. There's still more coming. There. Oh. If you leave it on and stand here, you will not be able to see to turn it off. You really have to do it in batches, or know how to feel your way over here to turn it off again. Actually, if you run fast enough, you can actually outpace the orbs that are following you. and then run back again and switch it. And yeah, trash can for getting rid of some of the drops that they have that I don't want. So yeah, that's what I got in here in the nether. Down there through those doors is somebody else's portal, and that takes me out into the world if I want to explore, mine. So let's head back. Yep, and more of these guys. Thankfully I can kill them with one hit. Supposedly that's not supposed to anger the others, but it does. That's okay. This one hit, 20-point kill. It's the cleaver with a whole lot of sharpness, and that's it. It's a powerful weapon. I quite like it. Let me get rid of some of these items I was given. I like walking around with nothing in my hand. That's part of my mines. And then this, as you can see in the mini-map, let me zoom in. I dug a lot down here back before I stopped doing this sort of mining. Built my first quarry. Ender quarry, of course. And now I don't even use an ender quarry. If I go mining, I go back to mining by hand. I briefly tried the Rotary Crafts tunnel miner thing. This is a very long hallway, as you can see on the mini-map. It goes way long. But yeah, that just makes a big mess. Where do these stairs go? They go up. That is the drop shaft we saw from before. And down here is where I get my bedrock dust for some of the Rotary Craft tools. This is a simple little trick. This thing can do 5 blocks before it runs out of, it can't reach farther than 5. So I put a block of sand on top of the 5th one with the torch putting power into it, which goes through it, comes around here and turns this on. So this is only on with a signal. So as soon as this thing eats through the last block of bedrock, the sand drops, cutting off the power, and this one still has power in its buffer in here that'll drain through, but after that it'll stop and won't drain my system anymore. Not that I can't afford it, but it always pays to be efficient. So I can move this and extend it a little bit more and set this up for another one if I wanted more bedrock dust, but I'm good for the moment. So let's head back upstairs. Zoom. Take the drop shaft, since I can fly. If you saw something flash by, it's the back of the blaze spawner. It's attached to the drop shaft, just because that's where everything came out. Let's see. We got these travel anchors that let me get around to the various levels. So go to that one. There we go. Now why don't I show you this digging spell as the final thing here. Let's go to our hub age. I never did set up a fancy hub age. I started to make a little bit here, but mainly it was just to hide the fact that behind this wall I've got my quantum field ring and access terminal. So I've got access to all my stuff from this age as well. I like having access to my stuff. But here's got books to various people's bases. And a whole lot of fences up in the sky here. The rule I had was you can go ahead and set up an ender quarry with fences, but then leave the fences up so that people know that area has been mined out. Because sometimes you really can't tell. I mean, if it used to be red rock and now it's grass, you can tell. But other times you won't be able to tell from the surface. Now down here, what was it that I was exploding? I was exploding something down here. I think it was one of the fancier TNTs just to see. Oh yeah, I was trying to kill withers with fancy TNT. So it made this really big, neat looking hole. A lot of waterfalls. But I found out that they just kill themselves. So these are the boxes I put them in. And there's 2 of them here. They're not connected. Actually, I think there's a hole between them, so they can shoot each other if they want. But if I mine some of this septuple cobblestone. There is space inside. You can see there. There's room inside to build a wither. And then once it's done building it, I seal it up and fly back, and the wither will just kill itself slowly. And when it's done, I can come in and break it open again and get out the goodies. Works great. It's well worth making septuple compressed cobblestone. Not sure how many exactly, but you can see the layout here. Oh, that's right. I've got a hole in the bottom. There's one hole down here at the bottom because I can't shoot out of that. And that lets me come up close and get the drops. It's hard to see because it's also black. Now, for mining. Let's go over here. I've got a hole that I already dug using the Blood Magic mining spell. Not that. That's just a glitch of the system. Over here. It's all squared off. Yeah. And you can see bedrock down here. That's a cave. But this was all dug out by the spell, and so was... Well, actually, this one is not too huge. But let's do it here so I can show you what it looks like. So, let me get out the inventory sucker. So let's activate it. It's now sucking my inventory. So put this back in my bag. And we'll get out both these spells. I forget which one is which. They're not labeled. So let's fire and see. Alright, that one didn't do anything. That is the water freezing. So let's switch to the other one. And here we go. Ready? Fire at the wall. Shoop. Shoop. You say, oh, that's not so great. Yeah, but you could do this. Just hose it. Hold down and just hose. Oh, there's some water. A mana creeper. It's getting a little bit dark. Let's dig up to the surface. So get some light. Yeah, that's how I light it up. Who cares about torches? Let's just dig a hole of the surface. Almost there. There we go. Is that it? No, a little bit more. There we go. Get the last little bits. And then get all the gravel to drop down. Alright, well it didn't light it up that much because... Was it night? Oh, it's raining. It's always raining here. But that's enough to see the water. So now I can switch to the other spell and freeze the water, mine it up, and the water's gone. I can get a little bit more. There. Easily taking care of water. Now I was sucking the stuff up so fast, my inventory was filling and I wasn't getting all the drops, but now I can still hit them again and it will pick up the drops. So this is a very fast mining system. So I mined all that and all this just in a few moments there. All of it got sent back and it's probably being processed as we speak. But I don't want to put anything in here because it'll get sucked away. So let's put these back and then turn off the inventory sucker. So now things will stay as they should. Good. Yeah, I use one of these bags to, which is this one over here, my hotbar, to keep all the tools and things that I want to carry around with me, and including some things that just sort of got stuck in there and following me. Most of these things are tools. Here's a couple of these heal crystals, which if I want to start fighting something, I can pop them in my inventory and they'll take the damage. Some of the blood magic stuff, various hammers and shovels if I want to do some more precise stuff, a builder's wand, watering can, infinite bucket of water, very handy. Bottomless bucket if I just want to get rid of stuff. Anything I scoop up in this bucket gets destroyed. Between the bucket of water and a bucket of lava, some basic materials in case I need to craft anything on the fly, some arcane scroll spells, various other tools, golden lassos. Don't have a safari netted here. I usually do. Some linking books, in case I get stuck in an age. This one takes me home. This one I can link. This is an intralinking, so if I'm in the overworld and I'm in a place I want to get back to, I can link a book to it and take it with me. And some extra linking books, in case I'm ever stuck anywhere. Very important, a syringe filled with my blood. It's been centrifuged. So if I die and I get this bag back, I can inject myself and get all my DNA benefits back. I also have another one of these back in the base, in a chest, or actually maybe in the centrifuge itself, as a secondary backup. Antidote syringe. So that, I think, just about covers it. Oh, nice purple sunsets in this age. So let's head back to the base. A number of other people were playing on the server. I taught them all my power system. I think just about everybody's using their own version of that. But this was, again, not very fancy, but it did a job, and that was all it needed to. So let's head back to my base, and I think we're about done. I can't think of anything else in here that I haven't described already. A little bit of witchery. I didn't really get into the witchery. Reproducer is sort of fun. Lets you duplicate spawn eggs. I was starting to find spawn eggs in egg. No, not there. Spawn. Yeah, here we go. Spawn wither skeletons. I have 11 of those and 1 normal skeleton. They were in those chests in the ender. I also have a couple of spawners here in these dollies, and a bunch of spawners that I broke with, I think, a bedrock pickaxe, so they're kept. So we got 2 spiders, 2 silverfish, 2 creepers, and 3 zombies. The creepers and I think the silverfish came from some of those roguelike dungeons. Very handy. So that is about it. I'm going to take one. We haven't been to the end. I don't think I've got any machinery there. Oh, I got this guy hooked up so that he gets a little bit of the excess lava from these two to do some of the centrifuging, which there's a couple good recipes in there. You can make fire. Put a piece of quartz here and here and you get fire, which is actually needed for something, some recipe. I forget what, but yeah, let's jump over to the end. Came out underground. Now you'll notice the end looks a little different. It's very sort of chunky, and there's a distinct absence of towers. There's a bit of bedrock there, and a couple other. This is where the tops of the towers were. I went ahead and used that mining spell of mine to mine them all up. Just takes a few clicks, and the tower's gone. I think there's a couple over here. Yeah, there's a couple over here that I didn't get to. Well, that one's got a couple holes chunked out of it. I guess we're going around mining up some of the materials that are around, some of the ores that are only generated here, to make some of those last suits of armor. All this was destroyed just to make those suits of armor. What was in here? Oh, this was my original killing field for killing the Enderman. You hop in here, fight the water. Come on. Go down. There we go. So they can't get in here. The ceiling's too low, and I can look at them and make them come. Come on, just all you guys, come on over. Come out to play. Here they come. And you just start killing them all. When you get to the ender, this is a great way to kill them all. It's just easy. Completely, yeah, can't get that. Completely vanilla, sort of. Probably want to have a magnet on you, or... Oops. I just tossed everything around in my inventory. There we go. Get those. Put that back. I don't have access to my terminal here. I'd never set up another. But then I wasn't spending a lot of time here. No quantum field ring. Fly out. And I put a linking book here to get me back to my base directly, so I don't have to go through this thing. But you can if you want. So it's just a little bit easier to use a book to get home. So right back my starting spot. So that is my base. Let's see, I did go out here. Oops. It doesn't know I'm really here. There we go. Yeah, that thing doesn't work too well. That, yeah, that's everything. Fly. There we go. Got some magnum torches in the area, so no mobs really spawn close by except for the ones I want to. And that is a tour of the base. Now, like I said, this doesn't look that good. And I'm going to make it a point to make stuff look better on the next server. We've got a server getting ready to start it up. This was Feed the Beast Monster Pack. The new one will be from the AT launcher, and it's called Modsauce. It's from the Hermitcraft server. It's their pack. They put it out. It's with a 1.7 Minecraft. A little bit experimental, maybe a little bit unstable, but in my single-player testing, it seemed pretty good. So we're going to try it out on the server, and that'll be next. Now, what I'm going to take you over and show you the spawn room, and just some of the nice things you can do using carpenter's blocks and chisel. This one doesn't have chisel, but it has carpenter's blocks. The last server I had chisel, but it didn't have carpenter blocks. Now we've got both. And electrical age, and a bunch of other mods that just add some neat stuff. So let me take you over there and show you what that looks like. And here we are. Because of the way Minecraft spawns, you have to spawn on the roof. Has to be sky overhead, and it's anywhere within, like a 20 block radius of the spawn point, which is down below us. Step on pad, read text in the top left. Notice right up there in the top left corner it says stand on the round marker and crouch sneak to enter the spawn building. Welcome to Liminality. So we'll crouch, and we're down. This is the spawn room. I'm quite happy the way it worked out. I can do pretty sometimes. I think this is pretty. It's still just a box of a room, but it's decorated, that's for sure. I even stuck various, electron. There's a relay and a battery charger and a energy meter here that's ticking away. You can see how long ago I set it up. Anemometer? Yeah, it's not really useful inside, but it's pretty looking, Various other things. Oh yeah, that opens up. That's cool. And this thing gives you the rules of the game. They show up in the top corner there. And then we have each of the 4 cardinal directions marked out in a different color. And at the end of each of these hallways, more decoration, we've got the electrical age transporter. Excuse me. There's one in each of these, and they take you out quite some distance away from spawn in each of the cardinal directions. So this can spread the players out, and yet wherever they go, there's a transporter at the other end. They can hop back in and come back here and switch to one of the other ones. So let's go ahead and tell it to start. Go to the southern hub. Hop in here. If you haven't seen these before, it's a very nice model. I've got it all creatively powered, so they're pretty quick. Here we go. And here we are. Now, the Ruins mod, I think, adds a whole bunch of buildings. I just sort of took over this one to be the shape of the destinations for the teletransporters. But I added some more electrical lights to it, got rid of all the torches, and sort of modernized it with powered lights. And this is one of the locations, if you want something a little bit more jungly. This is the one to take. Each one of the transporters has a description of a little description of what sort of terrain is in that direction, but people are welcome to try out each one and pick the one that they like the best. So you can always hop back in here and head back to spawn. Boom, there we are. And out we go. Put like liquids down underneath just to give it a little bit more interest. Fly up. Whoop! Didn't mean to hit the. Go up on the roof. Fly over here. There we go. So you can fly up and see the whole space. came out pretty good. But now we can go outside and see it from the outside. Go on. There we go. A nice mesa biome here that we're in. And that's the spawn building. So, this is where we'll start. And this is not up on our server yet. This is still locally hosted. We've had other people on to help set this up. One of the players did a great job in mirroring me as I was building this from memory. And he would, since a lot of it is repeated, he would duplicate parts of it and help me out, and did a great job. Thank you, Ian. And this is going to be where we start off. And when I set up my, this was all done in creative, of course, because just to start the server off. But when the server opens up, I'll be just like everybody else, playing as a new player and with nothing on me but the various starting books it gives you. Actually, I won't even have those because I've already cleared out my inventory. Actually, I have some stuff left over. So I won't even have the books. That's okay. I can get them if I need them. Actually, no, I think I'll just nuke the player files of everybody. That way everybody gets the books back. Anybody who's been on here already gets their books back. So here's the east teleport. If I stand on this, it tells me this region is dry with colorful clay canyons and nearby water. And over here, I like these things. They light up as you come close. Motion sensors. Region contains rolling hills and a wide variety of climates. Region is high atop green hills close to a tall forest and large ocean. And over here we have green and fertile with nearby deserts and water. That's where we just were. So yeah, this is the start of the new liminality that'll be opening up shortly. We are taking new players. Feel free to contact me here in the comments or send me a message on Skype. Same username there, Nonsanity, as I am here and on YouTube and in the video and Minecraft and everywhere. So yeah. Time to open up the doors. I think I'll do that tomorrow and we'll be ready. Anyway, this has been a I have played instead of a let's play, and I'm about to play. So let's play. I don't know if I'll be videotaping. You can tell I'm old. Videoing. I won't be recording. I don't think. I play here on this server. Maybe I will. I don't know. Didn't get too many watchers on my last Let's Play, so it's probably not worth it quite yet, but we'll see. Maybe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of seeing things. If you have any questions of anything you saw here in the other base, feel free to ask. Always willing to help. And this is Nonsanity signing off. Talk to you later.